What's up, guys, and welcome back to week 2 in our series titled I Am. Now, I want to start off in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 32 through 39. It says, David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul replied, "You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." But David said to Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his sword over the tunic and tried walking around, because he was not used to them. "I cannot go in these," he said to Saul, "because I am not used to them." So he took them off. So, first off, props to David. From what we can tell, David, we don't know his size. We don't know how big he was. He was probably an average dude, maybe a little bigger, who knows. But we do know with absolute certainty that Goliath was a giant by the literal and real life terminologies. This dude was huge and scary, and so much so that in the entire Israelite army, there wasn't a single guy that was big enough or bad enough or stupid enough to even face him or even think about it. I mean, in the same situation, if I was David, I'd probably consider Saul's armor a second time. It might be uncomfortable, but you gotta think, Saul in the Bible is a pretty big dude, so he's probably got some pretty big armor. He's a king, so it's got to be like the most decked out armor. It's got like the plushy shoulder pads, like super fancy. It's like if it was me, I'd be like, yes, it's a giant, so I'll take the extra armor. I want the super HD heads up display, fights for me on its own, magic armor. That sounds good to me. I'll take that. But you see, David knows something that I wish I had known at a younger age. And it's the main thing that I want you to take away today. So I want you to take this moment. I want you to take it and hold it hostage. I want you to remove all distractions, turn off anything else, and listen close. Because David knew that he was enough. And more importantly, David knew that God was enough. Saul's armor did not work for David. It wasn't made for him. It's not what he was made to do. And even though strategically it might have made more sense for him to wear the super armor, David chose to trust that his God had his back. And whether people understood that or not, whether that made sense to anyone else or not, that he would trust that his God had a plan, and that in that plan, he had given him the tools to succeed in whatever situation that God threw him into. And it's the same for you and me today. You see, there have been many times in my life where I feel like God's been pushing me to do something that I feel uncomfortable with, I'm unsure of, I feel unqualified for. And the only thing that's ever gotten me through that is knowing that I am enough. You see, people spend their whole lives, me included, trying to cover up their perceived failures, their weaknesses or insecurities. You need to know it's okay. You're only human. And you might have a Goliath in your life. And that's okay. We have to face giants every day, sometimes it feels like. When it comes to our fear, our anxiety, our anger, our addictions, our pain, our past, our present, or even our futures. The good news is, though, that you're in good company. I've been there before. Done that, and I got a t-shirt. And I've gotten a couple more since then, and I'll probably get more since now. I don't believe that giants are a one and done. I think that God uses giants in our day-to-day life to make us learn more and more how to lean on Him, the only one who can slay giants. You see, this isn't a challenge for you to be strong. This is a challenge for you to be at peace in your most vulnerable and weakest moments of life. In 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10, Paul says this, "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong.'" We are in the midst of Easter. We are celebrating the ultimate sign of God's grace. And for those of you that don't know, God did send His only Son down here onto earth to live a perfect and sinless life. He faced all of the same temptations that you and I do, but He never sinned once. And on top of that, while He was here, He performed many miracles, healed and saved many people, and even discipled 12 unique men. At the end of His ministry, He paid the ultimate sacrifice for us by taking all of our sin onto Himself, every bit of the worst parts of us, and dying on a cross so that we didn't have to. He was buried and stayed that way for 3 days. But luckily for us, on the third day, He rose again. And with that brought the opportunity for us to not be saved by anything that we do, but to be saved by simply believing in Him. Guys, I believe that God is using this time for a very specific reason, for a very specific goal. My message to you today is you are enough. You don't need to be someone you're not. You don't need to be extremely strong to be rid of your fear, addiction, or pain. And God is just sitting there waiting for you to reach out. And He's saying over and over again that He is enough. If you'll trust Him, if you'll believe Him, that He's bigger than that. So say it with me, I am enough. One more time, loud and proud so you remember it. I am enough. Love you guys.